Okay, let's look at what we've actually changed in this particular version. And the first thing that you'll probably notice is in the inspection bar now we have a configuration button. This is pretty handy. It'll bring up a couple of settings. First is trapping vectors, which you may remember or may use, and the new verification mode. And we also have a direct integration with our little part information form. So you can put in part number and batch number and that sort of thing quite conveniently located. But let's take a look at these vectors and see how they might be used. And what I'm going to do is just start with the trapping vectors to give you an idea of that. And what I have here are just a set of features. A couple of them pass, a couple of them fail, and we want to know why. And this is something that you might not think of with trapping vectors, but what you can do is just simply turn them on and then immediately get visual display of the deviations. So you can move through the features and look at the points and how well they fit to the measured feature and progress through the list. And one thing you'll notice is that if there's a bad point, it's significantly magnified. So it's easy to use this as a tool to identify if there are deviations in a particular feature and why that may be causing a problem. So that's the first thing. And the other advantage here is that, of course, if you are directly measuring, this vector group will update with each additional point. So as you add points to it, you can move along. And if you get to a feature like this where you know there's some deviations and you want to just simply remeasure it, what you can do is use the verify mode. And let me show you that now. So if I turn this on, it gives you an extra piece of information. It gives you a pause essentially between progressing from one feature to the next. So here we go. Same thing, you get the trapping vectors, hit next, suddenly you get a different result. You get the final result of the measured feature, and you also get whether or not it passed or failed based upon the tolerances. And you can just simply hit next, it'll go back into trapping mode, and they're in verification again. And as you move through the list, it will continue to do that, giving you the information you need about a particular feature until you get to one that you don't like. And in this scenario, you can see that it actually failed, and the circularity failed. So clearly that one point is causing it to have all sorts of problems. And what we can do is simply use the previous button to clear that feature out. So you can now go ahead and remeasure that feature if you want. And that allows you to progress through and check the results. So this one also failed. If we look at the results, RMS is great, but now the vectors in the verification mode have switched to display the points relative to the nominal, and you can see that there's a problem in the diameter of that hole. So having the visual feedback and the ability to just simply progress through the list and look at the results is what really has been added to this version. One additional thing I wanted to share with you about the verification mode is the advantage it plays in doing automatic measurements. So here I have an ATS 600 connected, and what I've done is go into just a couple of features and edit the settings such that I'm both using guide points and the auto measure function. So what's really cool about this is now if I go in here and turn on my verification mode, what I can do is just simply start trapping by double clicking the enter, and it will auto measure the features for me. As soon as it's done, it completes, it moves on, it stops, it gives me progress report. So if I want to clear out that feature and remeasure it, I can. Or if I want to, I just hit next and it'll remeasure or move on to the next feature. So in this case, I'm measuring a series of points on a cylinder, but it's really that easy. And the verification step just gives you that extra understanding of what's going on as you complete the measurement, because you get status as you're measuring, but once you're done, it stops and it gives you a final result so that you know whether or not there was a successful measurement and if everything worked out as intended.